Have you ever imagined a world where the internet never existed? A world where knowledge flows slowly, where communities rely entirely on observation, memory, and oral traditions. Every choice they make sends ripples across lives they may never see. In this episode of Fractured Realities, we explore a world where survival depends on human ingenuity and collaboration. Communities must rediscover old techniques, experiment with new methods, and rely on shared experience to sustain themselves. Groups of villagers rise before dawn to tend fields, care for livestock, and collect water from nearby rivers. There are no tutorials, no instant answers. Everything comes from careful observation and passed down wisdom. Young learners explore forests, mapping rivers, hidden groves, and rare herbs. Together, they experiment with crop rotations, water channels, and preservation methods, sharing observations with neighboring villages. Some days yield triumphs, fields abundant, storage silos full. Other days bring failures, unexpected frost, pests, or spoiled grain. Each outcome teaches lessons that echo across settlements. When pest infestations strike, communities improvise traps, test natural repellents, and develop rotational storage strategies. Knowledge spreads slowly. Successes circulate by word of mouth. Failures serve as silent warnings. Councils of elders meet regularly, consulting tattered manuscripts and oral histories to guide decisions. Advice passes from one group to another, shaping planting schedules, irrigation systems, and preservation methods. Trade between villages is slow but vital. Some settlements thrive, passing innovations along. Others falter when critical information doesn't arrive. Even small discoveries can determine the fate of entire communities. Evenings are marked by gatherings around rivers and fires. Groups share lessons, recount victories and losses, and plan strategies for upcoming seasons. The glow of fireflies illuminates attentive faces, symbolizing the spread of knowledge and connection. Natural disasters or crop failures can alter the balance in a single day. Life remains fragile yet resilient, shaped by collaboration, improvisation, and persistence. Every shared insight carries weight far beyond its origin. Young learners absorb both successes and mistakes, carrying forward skills that may not be fully understood, yet will be vital for future generations. Observation and experimentation replace reliance on technology. As night falls, communities reflect on achievements and failures alike, recognizing that survival is as much about learning and adapting as it is about working the land. Every decision has a lasting ripple. Rituals, storytelling, and songs preserve knowledge. Elders recount tales of past hardships, triumphs, and ingenious solutions. These narratives become the blueprint for future decisions. Resource management becomes an art. Villages plan crop rotation, water conservation, and foraging with incredible precision, guided by observation rather than digital predictions. Conflicts arise occasionally, disputes over land, resources, or traditions. But groups learn negotiation, compromise, and diplomacy through experience. Social cohesion becomes a survival skill. Some groups experiment with new tools and techniques, handmade plows, irrigation systems, and storage methods. These innovations spread slowly, depending on trust, observation, and practical proof. Weather forecasts come from intuition and patterns observed over generations. People notice subtle shifts in wind, clouds, and animal behavior to anticipate storms or droughts. Healthcare relies on herbal remedies, midwives, and communal care. Knowledge is passed from healer to apprentice, slowly but deliberately, with mistakes serving as crucial lessons. Every evening, communities gather around firelight to share knowledge, reaffirm relationships, and discuss strategies. The simple act of conversation becomes a lifeline for survival. Imagine what knowledge and skills you would preserve if society depended entirely on memory, observation, and collaboration. Sharing this story helps others appreciate the power of collective learning and the resilience it fosters. Step into a city teeming with millions of lives, yet entirely disconnected from instant communication. Without rapid access to information, communities struggle to coordinate resources, and confusion spreads faster than any individual can manage. Rumors ignite panic. Shortages of food, water, and medicine lead to unrest, and streets erupt into chaos. Neighborhoods fragment as trust erodes, and systems teeter on collapse. Healthcare teams and volunteer groups confront overwhelming demand. Instructions and critical information circulate too slowly, allowing preventable diseases and injuries to worsen. Emergency councils convene in fragmented meetings, debating which districts require urgent aid, how to allocate scarce resources, and how to maintain order. Citizens gather outside, protesting, their voices amplified by fear and frustration. Groups of residents, volunteers, and youth navigate hazardous streets, delivering messages, providing aid, and improvising ways to care for the sick. Each journey is perilous, requiring cooperation, courage, and adaptability. Communities fragment into micro-societies. Some self-organize, creating rules and communication networks. Others descend into hoarding, mistrust, and fear. Temporary pockets of order emerge, but remain fragile. Even amid chaos, small acts of hope appear. Neighborhood groups share resources, organize safe zones, and protect vulnerable citizens. Moments of human connection shine like beacons in a fractured world. Over time, improvisation becomes survival. Communities develop informal networks to share news, distribute supplies, and care for those in need. Observation and adaptation replace centralized systems. Rumors and delayed messages ripple outward, affecting countless lives. The absence of instant information magnifies small errors into widespread consequences, demonstrating the fragile balance of urban society. Youth and volunteers become essential messengers and problem solvers. Their courage and ingenuity help maintain order in areas otherwise abandoned or overwhelmed. Through cycles of tension and adaptation, resilience emerges. Communities learn to anticipate patterns, prepare for disruptions, and improvise solutions to recurring crises. Observing this fractured city, one realizes how critical connection and information are for society to function. Even small lapses can cascade into major consequences. Crowds gather in open squares, sharing news, correcting misinformation, and reinforcing communal values. These gatherings, chaotic yet vital, sustain the lifeblood of human connection. In the absence of digital tools, communication relies on runners, signal fires, and word of mouth. Every message carries risk, yet every successful transmission can save lives. Power shifts unpredictably. Some neighborhoods organize efficiently, gaining influence. Others collapse under stress, creating pockets of vulnerability. Volunteers and small groups innovate improvised systems for food distribution, medical triage, and security patrols. Each effort creates ripples that shape the stability of the city. Even fleeting moments of cooperation provide lessons. Citizens learn negotiation, trust building, and adaptive problem-solving out of necessity. As night falls, communities tally losses and victories, recognizing which strategies worked and which failed. Reflection becomes a critical tool for survival. The city pulses with tension and resilience, a living testament to the human ability to adapt when systems fracture. Reflect on the fragility of interconnected societies and the power of collaboration. Every action, every shared insight can ripple across lives, stabilizing or destabilizing the entire system. In a third timeline, communities function with stability, but little innovation. Life appears orderly, predictable, and safe, yet beneath the surface lies quiet stagnation. Knowledge spreads slowly, and creativity remains largely contained. Groups of engineers, artisans, and merchants follow established routines. Workshops, markets, and homes operate methodically, repeating patterns passed down through generations. Innovation exists, but rarely travels beyond its origin. Children play in open fields, building and experimenting freely. Their imagination thrives, yet as they grow, the absence of broader networks constrains their potential. Creativity exists in isolation, fading before it can transform communities. Communities maintain essential infrastructure. Water systems, food storage, and craft techniques remain effective but unchanged. Small improvements arise sporadically but rarely spread. Even minor innovations, new recipes, slight modifications to tools or irrigation, often disappear if not adopted widely. Ideas stagnate without collaboration or a broader system to share knowledge. Life feels stable, yet a quiet sense of unrealized potential pervades. Residents follow routines comfortably, rarely questioning or challenging the status quo. Groups observe changes in nature or neighboring villages, but often lack the means or incentive to implement new methods. Curiosity exists, yet it is subdued by habit and caution. Trade and communication persist, but innovations pass slowly. Communities remain functional, but frozen in time, maintaining survival rather than pursuing progress. From hilltops or riversides, observers may see opportunities for improvement, yet these insights rarely reach those who could act upon them. The potential for growth is apparent, but unrealized. Social interactions remain warm but predictable. Rituals, festivals, and daily routines continue unchanged for generations, fostering comfort but not development. Even in this stability, small fractures appear. Some settlements experiment quietly, others resist change, and the tension between tradition and innovation simmers beneath the surface. Reflecting on this world, one realizes that innovation requires both curiosity and a system to share knowledge. Even small exchanges of ideas can ripple outward, sparking change where stagnation otherwise dominates. Leaders rely on past methods rather than experimentation, trusting tradition over trial. While this ensures short-term safety, it limits the ability to adapt to unforeseen challenges. Education is experiential but contained. Learners inherit skills and knowledge from mentors, yet the flow of new ideas from other communities is minimal. Growth occurs slowly, almost imperceptibly. Craftsmen refine techniques, but rarely innovate radically. Markets function predictably, producing enough to sustain communities, but never enough to transform them. Curiosity exists in small pockets. Some residents explore minor improvements, test new methods, or attempt inventions, but their efforts often fade without wider adoption. Festivals and communal activities reinforce social bonds, reminding communities of shared history and collective identity. Comfort lies in predictability rather than progress. Even environmental challenges are met with traditional solutions. Droughts, floods, and storms are managed with time-tested methods that have proven effective but lack innovation. In these communities, life is safe and steady but constrained. Potential remains untapped, knowledge flows slowly, and progress waits in the wings. By observing this world, you are reminded of the delicate balance between order, potential, and the flow of knowledge. Sharing this story highlights the importance of curiosity, collaboration, and the risks of stagnation. Across these fractured realities, the absence of a single invention reshapes life profoundly. Rural communities thrive through collaboration, but face fragile knowledge networks. Chaotic cities struggle under delayed communication, while stable societies risk stagnation. The internet, or the absence of it, becomes more than a technological gap. It represents fractures in knowledge, perception, and social cohesion. Communities are shaped not only by what exists, but by what cannot be shared. Patterns emerge. Small failures escalate into disasters. Minor innovations can sustain entire communities, and collective memory becomes a form of survival. Every ripple, every shared insight influences far-reaching outcomes. Groups adapt, improvise, and collaborate. Communities learn through cycles of trial and error, observation, and experimentation. The consequences of delayed or missing knowledge are profound. Resilience manifests differently in each timeline. In rural communities, ingenuity and tradition sustain life. In chaotic cities, improvisation and courage maintain order. In stagnant societies, adherence to routine preserves stability, but limits potential. Even subtle acts, passing along a technique, teaching a new skill, sharing a solution, can ripple outward to transform lives and communities. Small interventions matter immensely. Across all realities, choice becomes powerful. Actions, communication, and collaboration can either stabilize or fracture societies. The impact of human effort is magnified when knowledge moves slowly or is absent. Observers can see how fragile systems are, how easily miscommunication, hoarding, or stagnation can shape outcomes. Every group, every decision contributes to a larger, interconnected web of consequences. Communities reflect on their successes and failures, refining strategies, sharing lessons, and preparing for the future. Observation and memory become essential tools for survival. Patterns of collaboration and conflict reveal the delicate balance of human society. Trust, communication, and collective effort can create stability even in the absence of advanced technology. Some communities develop sophisticated systems for information sharing, messenger networks, signal fires, and oral documentation, demonstrating that innovation does not always require modern technology. Chaos and order exist simultaneously, shaping lives in unexpected ways. Small interventions can ripple into major consequences, influencing decisions and survival across regions. Reflection becomes a shared activity. Communities deliberate, consult elders, and evaluate outcomes of actions, fostering a culture of adaptation and learning. Even failures carry lessons. Communities recognize mistakes, adjust strategies, and adapt processes to avoid repeating past errors. Knowledge becomes cumulative and essential, Storytelling preserves collective memory. Tales of courage, ingenuity, and tragedy are shared nightly, reinforcing both practical knowledge and social cohesion. Observers can imagine themselves within these realities, understanding the fragility of society and the consequences of absent knowledge. Every choice, every ripple matters. Technology is not the only factor shaping these worlds. Human behavior, cooperation, adaptability, and courage are equally, if not more, critical. By contemplating these fractured realities, one appreciates the complexity of human systems, the value of shared knowledge, and the importance of active participation in shaping outcomes. If these realities intrigue you, remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Consider which fractured world you might inhabit, or what role you would play in shaping it. In this reality and the next, never stop chasing the fractures.